Imagine the year 1899 at the port of Callao, or 1908 at the Santos docks. Thousands of Japanese immigrants arrived in Latin America with a dream that bordered on the impossible: to prosper in the vast sugar and coffee plantations, to one day return victorious to their distant homeland. But the reality in the Brazilian fazendas and Peruvian plantations struck with brutality. Mistreatment, diseases, and debts transformed that idealized dream into a raw struggle for survival. It was this clash that forced a breaking point, driving an internal migration from the countryside toward vibrant metropolises. This movement, far from being just an escape, would sow the seeds of an unprecedented urban and cultural transformation in cities like Lima and São Paulo. Upon settling in the city, the Japanese footprint manifested through two radically different urban strategies. In Lima, immigrants opted for a discreet presence, aware of social suspicion. They did not build pagodas. Instead, they refunctionalized the existing urban fabric, occupying the ground floors of large old houses to convert them into bazaars, barbershops, and small businesses. Beneath that facade of integration, the Tanamoshi, an ingenious system of mutual savings and credit based on trust, enabled them to finance an endogenous microeconomy when local banks closed their doors to them. In contrast, in São Paulo, the vibrant neighborhood of Libertad emerged starting in 1912. Here, identity became not only visible, but undeniable. The city was physically transformed with iconic Susurranto lamps, bilingual signage, and majestic Torii gates, creating an ethnic enclave that boldly challenged the European aesthetic hegemony of the Brazilian metropolis. But now, let us talk about a third country, all the way up the north of South America, Colombia. Here, the Japanese managed to change the architecture of the biggest cities and turn the urban landscape upside down with their wits. Among us is Gregorio Ishida, heir to the Ishida Company, one of Colombia's largest architectural firms, to tell us more about these events.
I mean, I'm guessing you're talking about my grandfather's relationship with Rogelio Salmona. They were, I think, a very unlikely pair, but that doesn't necessarily mean it didn't work out well. You know, my grandfather was like a philosopher of Ma. This is like the empty space that exists in like Japanese art and architecture, and Rogelio Salmona was obviously the master of brick, as a lot of you may know him. Now, together they created what we can call the Nikkeian Andean style, or more casually, the Jacolombiano style, right? And this is not only about like transplanting pagoda roofs to houses here in Bogota, but it was a hybridization, you know. There are projects like the Hino de Noto, I'm sure you all know it. In Spanish it's called Torres del Sol Naciente, maybe you've heard of it. It won an international award because they offered this kind of alternative modernity between Colombia and Japan, and they proved that you can be profoundly modern without ceasing to be profoundly local, which I think is very valuable.
Salmona and Ishida also helped restructure Bogotá's public transport, creating the initiative of Transmilenio, which is a system of long, accordion-like buses whose stops and routes are inspired by the Tokyo Metro. Helped by a team of scientists, they used mycelium and its expansion across a map of the city to define what the most efficient routes would be. This is the reason some of the stations can be found underground.
I think my grandfather built monuments to cultural synthesis. I design so that this synthesis can be lived in today. And it is proof that in Colombia, diversity is not just like an obstacle to modernity, like many people think, but it is its most powerful creative engine. Thank you.